me, you hear? Hell's coming with me!
Woo! And hell hath cometh in the Tuscaloosa. As the epic meltdown continues the day after. Remember that movie? Was it called The Day After or something like that? It was like a doomsday movie or something back in the 1980s. What 1980s, I think. And that's what it is here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Now, a lot of teams probably be like, you know what? You're spoiled, Alabama fans. You're 8-3. Shut the hell up. And to a degree, that is true. But this is a team that went to the playoffs last year. So, of course, and it's got most of its components back, not all of them. It would probably been nice to have had Caleb Downs yesterday. He might have been able to change the momentum of the game with a punt return or something, since we couldn't score any touchdowns. By the way, it was the first time Alabama hadn't scored a touchdown in a game. Can y'all guess? Since 2004. So the mediocrity records continue to be set, and that was under the once fledgling former Alabama legend Mike Shula. I had some great memories of Mike Shula as a quarterback at Alabama, but his coaching career was something to be forgotten. Now, I'm going to go ahead and give our random Four Horsemen shout-outs of the day. I'm going to start doing them on the live streams here as well, because I'm probably going to start doing more live streams in the future. The Four Horsemen shout-outs go to Sigma, Bill Burks, Texas Torpedo, and Heath Stokes are mounted up, set up, and ready to go, and they're going to help us today's college football invasion. They have their badges. They're deputized. They're in the Outlaw Posse. It's $2.99 a month, 75 cents a week. It's just a half a bottle of water for the Outlaw if y'all are interested in joining. And you can also like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Those are the big four, and they're all absolutely free. By the way, if you don't mind, jump out of the comment section if you don't mind real quick and smash the like button and share all this with your friends and get them up in here. Let's get this party crunk and start the grill. I'm grilling myself today. So this should be entertaining, right? We all got a few people in the house already. First up is Eric Taco Marino was the first guy in. Thunder Eastern, first thing is Bama needs to get the players who are causing trouble in the locker room to transfer portal. Bama needs to rebuild, and Bama will bounce back probably next week. Yeah, I mean, I thought, with Kalen DeBoer going to the national title game and stuff like that, that he understood what it was to be big time and have Southern football in the way it's perceived down here. I thought he knew, but I guess he didn't. He claimed he knew. He claimed he knew all about the Alabama tradition. But here's the thing. Reading it in books does not prepare you for what you're about to entail. Even the great Nick Saban had a pretty horrid year his first year here. Second year, he went to the SEC title and lost to Tebow. Tim Tebow, that is. Not TBOW, the bitch out west, Lincoln Riley, but the actual good person that has Tebow in his name, Tim Tebow. Yeah. But it takes a special kind of person to come down here and put up with some of the stuff that you have to put up with here in the South. And in the South, football is it's much more than just passion. I don't even think there's a descriptive term or adjective that you can apply to it that can prepare someone like him for it. You have to come down here, and usually, if you're not from the South, it's best to come down here as an assistant and sort of wet your feet a little bit. Sort of like Lane Kiffin did when he come down here and sort of got indoctrinated by Alabama and Nick Saban for about 3 or 4 years, because that first little stint in Tennessee was horrible for him. He went back to USC. But then he come back and went through the Saban car wash. So, as Johnny John says, what's up, fellas? I already hit the like button. Yes, if y'all would please hit that like button. Sooner Ross is in the house. I'm still trying to figure out how OU won that game. The stars aligned for one night. It wasn't really the stars, man. There's a lot of internal stuff too that's going on behind the scenes. Not trying to take anything away from Oklahoma. I'm just saying that from former players and some players on the team, some reliable sources out there, and I'm not going to call anybody out because they'll get in trouble for basically saying this. So y'all can believe me or not believe me, but I'm telling you, it comes from reliable sources that there's a lot of angst on this team. And what Alabama has is a LANK problem. Their little acronym that they made up last year that Nick Saban enabled. That's another thing. Everybody wants to try to, lay all the blame at Kalen DeBoer's feet. But Alabama's program had been slipping a little bit. We just happened to back into the playoffs last year because we got lucky in quite a few games last year, especially Hail Mary against Auburn. We probably shouldn't even been in the playoffs last year, and it sort of disguised that a little bit. Nick Saban got disgruntled with it. You could tell the last couple of years the team was completely undisciplined. The last 2 or 3 years Saban was here, completely undisciplined. We thought it was Pete Golden's fault. Pete Golden goes to Ole Miss, and his defenses are doing pretty good at Ole Miss. So I don't think it was a Pete Golden thing. I don't know. I think it's all about this NIL stuff now. These players now feel enabled. They feel like they're making all this money, and now they don't have to take any direction from anybody, including their head coach. And that's why the phrase is being coined about Jalen Milroe and his little entourage. They call him the Cancer Five. I done a video on this a while back, basically calling them out about holding the team hostage. That being, if I can remember the names, Jalen Milroe and Malachi Moore, Tyler Booker, Jalid Campbell, and Tim Smith. They call them the Cancer Five. They basically dictate that if Jalen Milroe were to get benched, other than injury, then they might cause an uprising and make the team lay down. And then you have some more internal stuff that's been percolating up. A lot of people thought it was disgusting that it was even brought up that one of the players that ended up going to the transfer pool that got suspended by Kalen DeBoer had sent or had a text conversation with Kalen DeBoer's daughter that was inappropriate, referring to his man region as a horse, asking her if she wanted to see the horse. But now it's come out that, and I put it on my Twitter feed today, X, whatever y'all want to call it. On X today, I put a tweet on there basically explaining what the newest rumor is. But a lot of this stuff is so random and so specific that it's hard for me to believe that some of this stuff is made up. It's like the old adage of where there's smoke is there's fire. But if you'll go on my X, which is at OCF Productions, go on my X and hit me up on there and follow me on X if you don't mind as well. But on my X, I basically put the information out there. I hated to do it, man. It's just so Jerry Springer-like. The original text that he sent his daughter was Genesis was all that had been that he had said some eluding comments about, this is Cano Coit or Coat, whatever his name is, Cano Coat. Brian Fowler loves it when I mispronounce his name. He sent me a pronunciation thing for the team's names, being a sarcastic jackass. But anyway, Cano, whatever his name is, sent a text to his daughter, but it was it had started in the locker room. Supposedly he had said something alluding about Kalen DeBoer's wife, and Kalen DeBoer got on to him. Well, the Cancer Five, as they call them, and some of the players in the locker room decided that they would psych his ass up and on a dared him to send a text to Kalen DeBoer's daughter. Now, I don't know if he got suspended for the comments about Kalen DeBoer's wife or whether it was the actual text to his daughter that supposedly happened that's now supposedly been deleted. That kind of deal. No Cojones Kelly is in the house. No Cojones Kelly says there is a softness about these youngins nowadays. No way these Bama, LSU, and OU teams would hold a candle to the teams of the years past. No, and I think it's the NIL. Now, while, there's sort of a slippery slope there, and it's a sort of a double-edged sword in that, yes, the players should be paid. I'm not saying they shouldn't. I'm just saying they're getting paid too much, man. They're given an unrealistic view of how things are going to go for them in the NFL. You can't go in the NFL and decide, you know what, I don't like this shit. I don't like this contract. I don't like this. I'm leaving. You can't just up and leave. If someone like back in the day, if Tom Brady decides, you know what, I don't like playing in New England. This weather is shitty. I'm going to Miami. And that's just the bottom line. he couldn't do that. Not without giving Miami something in return. And the way it's set up now, the NIL, they can just up and leave. And they can just up and leave in the middle of the year. They've been doing that already. You can't do that in the NFL. And if your career aspirations is to be a professional football player, well, then you need to go by professional football rules. And these universities just need to get together, and they're probably not going to do it because they've never been able to do it. Just get together and say, hey, this is the minimum that we're going to pay these guys. If they want to try to throw lawsuits at us, that's fine. They don't have to play football for us. They don't have to play football for our universities. They can go compete in the UFL or whatever it's called now. They'll probably take you straight out of high school in UFL. Go do that. Try to be the football version of Kobe Bryant or LeBron James. But just so you know, those are like one in a million success stories for all you young, enabled, spoiled-ass athletes out there today. Y'all don't know what it takes to earn a paycheck. Y'all want it to be just given to you. And you can't just up and leave like that, man. Even at a regular job, you know, etiquette dictates that you give somebody some kind of notice or something, man. And I just say, screw you. But in these kind of deals with this kind of money, doesn't compare to our common Joe salaries, there's contracts to be signed. And they don't want to sign contracts. But that's what it's going to come to. That's what it's got to come to. But that's my little soapbox on that. Johnny John says, I can't believe we won that game. I knew we'd need defense to score points and set up the offense to score another. Plus, we need the offense to have multiple turnovers. All that happened. That's true. Why don't you have a badge, Johnny John? You should be in the posse, brother. It ain't but $2.99, man. Come on now. Sigma Nomads in the house. Oklahoma is the best team in Alabama. That's true. That is true now. Their 2 SEC wins have come at the expense of the 2 Alabama teams. Thunder U Center says NIL ruined college football. Yeah, I think it did. Like I said, people, when you say it, they're like, oh, you don't think the players should get paid, man. You just want to run them in the ground like they're a bunch of slaves out in the field. That's not what we're saying. We're saying it should be fair compensation and that they should have to know what it's like to earn something and to, you know, when you make a commitment to some university or company, that you should have to try to honor that commitment somewhat unless there's extenuating circumstances, right? Well, like I said, the title of the video is Alabama has a LANK problem. Jalen, Milroe, and the Cancer 5 strike again. And they have. And I thought maybe things have been worked out behind the scenes internally, but it seems like it hasn't. Some former players and other players have told me that there was, I'm not sure what week it was. I haven't microcosmed them down as far as the date, but at some point, all the team was on a plane, and there was some kind of little skirmish, some kind of argument between the players about whether or not Jalen Milroe should be benched if he deserved to be benched, and Tyler Simpson should get an opportunity to lead the team. There again comes the Cancer 5. If I'll be honest with you, Kalen DeBoer seems like a super nice guy, and maybe that's an issue that might end up actually hurting him, is he's too nice. And if I was him, if someone had said something like that to my daughter, even making alluding complimentary comments to my wife, excuse me, I would have probably called him out. But he's trying to be too professional about it. I understand you got to be professional. There's some kind of etiquette that you gotta hold when you're basically reporting on this stuff or calling this stuff out. But it comes a point where you can't really go by professionalism as an etiquette when people are getting that personal. If I'm him, I call them out at that point. I'm like, look, they got kicked off the team. Some alluding things were said to my wife and my daughter. And some of these players on the team psyched this guy up and encouraged him to do it. And those guys, although it's probably going to cause us to lose 4 or 5 games, those guys are getting removed from the team because they're just generally not good human beings. I don't care how good they are and how many games they win. It's not about winning football games for me. Just like with the whole con time Deion Sanders shit. People are, oh, you don't like con time and you just hating on him. No, I'm not hating on him. I don't care how many games he's win. I'm still grilling his ass this day. He's a lot better this year at 8-3, even though he lost to Kansas yesterday, than he was last year. And I'm still grilling. So there you go. That goes to my point. I haven't shut up about it. And they're just generally bad people. And, hey, you lost 3 games anyway. So you should have just kicked them off the team, man, and just took your lumps. At least then people could respect you and say, hey, you know what? You kicked a bunch of star players off the team. We might not have liked it, but you got to respect it. And the fact that you didn't take no crap off of them, you removed them from the team, you removed the cancer from the team for the better good of the team in the future. This year may be a sacrifice, but the next 2 or 3 years will be things come to fruition for the program that he wants to run here. And if he doesn't get that in check, and if he doesn't start remedying that stuff behind the scenes, man, it's gonna carry over, and he ain't gonna be here more than 3 or 4 years. He may leave anyway for all the stuff that's just coming out, not just about football, but about his family. You know, I don't know if I'd want to be down here if that shit's going on. Now, Matt Berry on the Paul Feinbaum show said some stuff that I thought was pretty stupid. He got on there and he said, Alabama's still trying to make Jalen Milroe into a passing quarterback, and that's why they lost. You're an idiot. Alabama didn't try to make him pass the ball. They probably should have. They probably should have tried to make him pass the ball because Brent Venables is a damn good defensive coach, and he had 2 weeks to prepare for y'all. He had 2 weeks to prepare for Alabama. 2 weeks. My wife's trying to burn the house up in there. You hear that buzzer going off? Y'all hear that? That's Alabama's season. Ironically, the season's on fire. Just like that buzzer just went off. It actually worked out pretty good, huh? But where was I at? Yeah. He's just gone. Matt Berry knows what he's talking about. Brent Venables had 2 weeks to prepare. So, of course, he's going to take that away from him. But what did Alabama do? We just kept trying to run Jalen Milroe. So, no, Matt, it wasn't because Alabama tried to make Jalen Milroe pass. It was because Alabama didn't make him pass when they should have. Even if he wasn't going to be able to do it, it would have been a lot better than running Jalen Milroe up the middle and getting him hit. And by the way, a couple times he didn't even get hit. He just laid down. Remind me of Cam Newton in that Denver Super Bowl where he laid down against the Broncos and got scared of that ball, and that ball was on the ground. Remind me just like Cam Newton's little cowardly ass. And y'all not remember seeing that pick six that Oklahoma got? Did you see the attempted tackle by Jalen Milroe? He didn't even try to tackle the guy, man. He just did like this. That's all he did. Because all he's worried about is Jalen Milroe. Jalen Milroe is all about Jalen Milroe. And a lot of those players on the team are all about themselves, man. And like a number of y'all have said in here, the NIL being unchecked with no rules whatsoever has made these players the way they are. But the LANK, by the way, if y'all don't know what that is, it's an acronym that says Let All Naysayers Know. It's something they created last year when Alabama lost a game, and then we came back and went to the playoffs. Nick Saban ballyhooed it and pumped it up like he always does. I like Nick Saban. I like what he done for university, but there's some times where he says some liberally spastic stuff that just don't go over well with me and a lot of people. But they letting all naysayers know. They're letting all of us know that they are who we thought they were. Just like the great Dennis Green said, they are who we thought they were, man. They got lucky a few times last year, and that shit masked it and disguised it, and now it's coming to full fruition that they're just a bunch of thugs, man. Anybody that would encourage another player who's about to transfer out, who has nothing to lose, after making alluding comments to the man's wife and encourage him or psych him up to send a text message to his daughter, they're just as guilty. And they're a bunch of thugs and a bunch of cowards. And you can take your thug ass somewhere else. I don't want you claiming Alabama later in your life when you get older as an alumnus or whatever, when Alabama rights the ship again, which they will do because they always do. They've been doing that since 1925. And y'all get out and about and y'all graduate from Alabama and y'all on some little stupid ass talk show somewhere because you can't make it in the NFL. I don't want you trying to claim Alabama because we don't want you. The ones that's doing this, the ones that's encouraging this thuggish type actions, harassing people's daughters and wives and stuff. If y'all did that, no, man, I don't want y'all claiming Alabama. When you do, we're going to call you out. Actually, let me tell you something, NIL Commission. Me and you usually agree on everything, but that statement right there is a lie. That's probably the dumbest thing you've ever said to me. Saban could win with this Bama team. No, he can't. I don't think he could, man. When Caleb Downs split the coop and left, and a bunch of other players split the coop and left, everybody blamed it on Nick Saban retiring. Now, they were going to leave anyway. Caleb Downs was going to leave anyway, man. He was going to go to Ohio State because he got more money. Nick Saban was already slipping. It was just disguised last year by a Hail Mary win and a couple other games that were really close that we shouldn't have won. And even a couple of years before that, we were slipping. We were the most penalized team, I think 2 out of the last 3 years. We was one of the most penalized teams in America. So this ain't all about Kalen DeBoer. This is these players that were held over from this Saban era that think we owe them something. We're saving the day. We don't owe y'all shit, man. We give you a scholarship. We give you an opportunity to put yourself on a huge platform. And, yeah, y'all are helping us too. But without the platform, you're not going to get your NIL money. You're not going to have an opportunity in the NFL. So I know for a fact, and just right here in my heart, that Saban got out NIL Commission because he knew what was coming. He knew the shit was about to hit the fan, man. So let's not try to make this about Nick Saban, some kind of glorious savior, and he can come back and save the day. Because I don't think that's the case, brother. I'm sorry, I disagree. Saban was having to put up with the bullshit last year, man. It just wasn't publicized. Just saying. I mean, we're the most penalized team 2 out of the last 3 years, man. I have to disagree. We'll just have to agree to disagree. Marshall Jenkins says, "What's up, Outlaw? I'm glad it's just you tonight." Yeah, brother, I got that from a lot of people last night. But Johnny Johns and Killer Breeze and his brother Derek Johns, they're all good brothers. And I felt it was only appropriate that I have some Oklahoma people on here to allow y'all to celebrate a big win that probably is probably taking a lot of pressure off of Brent Venables and his family. I mean, that big win against Alabama has probably provided a silver lining for that man. He's been through a lot, man. I'm not saying that Oklahoma needs to lay down and give Brent Venables a free rein for the next 3 years because of all the bad luck that he's had. I'm just saying that he deserves at least one more season without being told that he's on the hot seat. Leon Suss says, "Me, Mom, I want a tour for Christmas." Mom says, "But son, you have a Milroe at home." Me. So, yeah, if you joined the party late, Alabama has a LANK problem that stands for Let All Naysayers Know. That's a little acronym that Jalen Milroe and his jackass clique that we call the Cancer 5 created. And basically they shit the bed yesterday once again. You could tell they weren't invested in it. And a lot of these players are not really invested in the universities anymore. A lot of these players, Alabama and everybody else, not just Alabama, recruit nationally now. So these people don't really understand your tradition and culture as much as they should probably when they come in here. Now you have outliers that come in here and do really well from way off places like California, New York. But for the most part, if I was Alabama, the Southern teams, I would concentrate on just recruiting the South, man. You got plenty of fertile recruiting grounds without going out there and getting jackasses from California and places like that. But Houston, we have a problem. With all the internal stuff going on behind the scenes, we have a sort of a problem here at Alabama that ain't just losing to Oklahoma and Vanderbilt and Tennessee. It's another problem. When I say Houston has we have a problem. That's ironically the hometown of one Jalen Milroe, who's the leader of this Cancer 5 group that continue to hold this team hostage. And Kalen DeBoer, maybe he's just waiting for these guys to get out of here so he can get his system in place. I hope that's the case because, like I said, he seems like a really good coach. But he's run into a situation down here that he could not fathom. He thought he knew, but he didn't know. Mike Price, another guy that was from the Northwest, Alabama hired him away from Washington State, ironically. And Kalen DeBoer come from Washington, so they both come from the state of Washington. Both of them come down here and got tripped up on some stuff that they thought they knew, but you really don't know until you get down here in the middle of it, in the South. When I say the South, I'm also including the state of Texas. And all people say, that's the Southwest. Yeah, I know, but it's still the South to me. So from Texas to Florida and maybe a little further north up to North Carolina and Kentucky. To me, that's the South. All them states are the South. I don't include Virginia in there because they're a bunch of morons. I don't like people from Virginia. Another school news in the house. Milroe's the best quarterback in the country. Just appreciate his greatness. You're trying to troll, man, but that was sort of a weak troll, man. I thought you was a lot better smack talker than that, man. Come in here with some substance, man. Come on now. Step up to the plate, numbskull. Tatted Sailor's in the house. So what Tatted Sailor has. By the way, if y'all want to get your comment read out, all these comments are coming in rather fast. Got over 70 or 80 people in here today. If you got a comment about what I've been talking about with Alabama has a LANK problem, Jalen, Milroe, and the Cancer 5, or anything in general that you want me to address, there's a little money dollar sign at the bottom. You can click on that, click on it, then write your comment, and then make sure you on the second click, you've already written your comment. So one click, write your comment, second click, it sends. That way you get your money's worth. Tatted Sailor says, I love it when Johnny Johns and Killer Breeze are on. They are actually very knowledgeable about college football and proud Sooner fans, so I don't know what the problem was. Well, man, you can't satisfy everybody, man. Some people, and that's why me and Killer Breeze, we talked about this a few times. He's been helping me my show for quite a while. Me and Killer Breeze talked about this off the air that what I do now is I usually give the first 30 minutes or so of the live stream to me, and then I might bring some people in. Ironically enough, we're coming up on 30 minutes now. But today I'm not going to bring anybody in here because I just done this last minute. I don't want to put anybody, in position or anything or make them feel like they got to be on here. It's tough to follow a legend. I don't care who you are, says Fred Bagley. I was going to address that. I'm glad you brought that up because I forgot. Yeah, it is hard to follow a legend, but we had a lot of good talent still here. I mean, it ain't like the cupboard was left bare, Fred. Matt Berry and him said that. But here's the thing, man. Someone has to follow a legend, man. And to just automatically assume that it can't be done, it's just not – I just don't get it, man, because I've seen it done before. I mean, Jimbo Fisher followed Bobby Bowden and won a national title. That's just one example. It can be done. It's just an old adage that people use to hide behind, I think. So if it can't be done, I mean, what are you supposed to do, Fred? Are you supposed to just not have a coach for 3 years? until it filters out the legendary status. That's always going to be there, man. It was there when Nick Saban came here, the whole Bear Bryant thing. You just got to come in. Oh, well, Gene Stallings. Gene Stallings won the national title at Alabama after Bear Bryant. People forget that. People think, oh, y'all just Bear Bryant and Saban. That's not true. If you know your history, because I don't want you to get your feelings hurt in the future when Alabama does re-arise and goes back to the top and wins the national title, and they will do so. There will be a sixth different head coach to win a national title at Alabama, but it ain't just Michael Crosby down to Bear Bryant and Nick Saban. I promise you that. If you know your history. And some people just don't know their history, and they just say shit and hope it sticks, and they just throw it against the wall without actually knowing their education on college football. So Gene Stallings come in I think it was only 13 years after Bear Bryant had won a national title in 79. Bear Bryant retired in 1982. Yeah, 1982. And just 10 short years later, Gene Stallings won a national title. So you can follow a legend. It's hard sometimes. You're right. If you're not the right guy, you're not going to be able to do it. Sometimes you do have to go through a couple to do it. And Alabama did have to do it with Gene Stallings. But my point is that sometimes you don't have to happen like that. So I just think people shouldn't roll over for that old adage because, like I said, Jimbo Fisher did it. Jimbo can do it. Anybody can, right? But, yeah, we got a lot of comments coming in here. I appreciate all y'all coming here and helping me get this off my chest. I just had to vent a little bit today because I heard that stuff about some of the team players encouraging Canoe Coat to send that message to Kalen DeBoer's daughter after he had already made alluding comments to Kalen DeBoer's wife. So I just a big old cluster F back there. I'm going to try to, I'm cutting out my cuss words today because yesterday's stream done really well. We got a lot of good donations for the stream. I appreciate everybody that donated the program last night at 11:30. But they promptly put me on limited ads after the show because I said a few F-bombs. So that was my fault. OU never replaced Switzer, says Brian Gilcrease. Really? I thought Bob Stoops won a national title. I think he did. And Lincoln Riley even went to the playoffs. Big Orange says, shit, 4 or 5 years ago, nobody thought about being a Tennessee fan, but the Vols have came out of nowhere and is good and everything now. Yeah, until they lose to Vanderbilt. Here's the thing, man. Every week this stuff is happening. It's not something that should surprise people. It's teams beating teams that you think can't beat these teams. The parity is for real now. And it's I like parity, but this is becoming a little over the top, man. And it's because of the NIL corruption, in my opinion. Donnie says, we've all joked about SMU being a sleeping giant, but they may be doing something this year or next year. It's ironic that, SMU got the death penalty back in the day for paying players. And now it's taken them about 30 years to get back. And when they finally come back, it's because they're able to pay players. I like what Barry Switzer said on the Wimp Sanderson show, too, the other day. He told Wimp, he's like, you know what NIL stands for, don't you, Wimp? Wimp Sanderson said, name, image, and likeness. He's like, no. NIL stands for now it's legal. Barry Switzer, man. I wish he was still young enough to coach, man. Maybe he could bring back here over to Alabama or something. I don't know. Yeah, buddy. Big Orange says, Bama players too worried about slinging that BBC on them snow bunnies. They worried about football anymore. Yeah, you may be right. And people are saying, man, that's an outrageous rumor. That's disgraceful. Like Ryan Fowler was telling me, man, being all elitist on me. It's not disgraceful, Ryan, if it's the truth, man. And it may not be the whole truth. There may be some embellishing going on. But, man, that's just too specific and too random to not have legs. There's something to it. There's a little smoke there. And like I said, with the old adage, where there's smoke, there's fire, right? Numbskull News, you don't know what you're talking about, brother. Y'all got mid-card parity in your stupid-ass Big 12 conference. And by the way, time, Deion Sanders didn't do y'all no favors in yesterday's shit in the bed against Kansas when he had a chance to do something, which he never does. He's had a chance to win plenty of championships, even at the HBCU level, and he couldn't even win a Celebration Bowl. The Big 12 is the conference of mid-card parity. The SEC is a conference of championship parity. You can like it or not like it. You can try to deny it. But you know it's true, and so do I. Anytime you want to be on and discuss it, let me know. Except I'm not going to let you talk over me like you did those other guys. Freedom, half off with a $5 donation. I appreciate the hell out of that, brother. What's your name all about, man? You got a website or something that you want to plug on here? Maybe you want to sell some stuff? Barry will always be the king, says Fred Bagley. Well, I don't know about that. He might be the king of Oklahoma, but he's not the king of college football. I like Barry Switzer. He's a good coach. But I don't know if I'd put him on Mount Rushmore or not. But he is a great coach. You're right about that. I figured that, you know, the guy that got you a 47-game win streak would be considered a king, wouldn't he? Would Bud Wilkinson be considered a king? Why is Barry always called the king? Why isn't Bud Wilkinson called the king? Just saying. I'm just aggravating you, numbskull. You messing with me, so I'm just messing with you back. Colorado stumbled yesterday. Yeah, they stumbled. They lost by double digits. They ain't going to playoffs. Alabama might not be going, but con time ain't either. Hell, we might even play con time in a bowl game. Wouldn't that be a poke in the eye? Especially for me if we lost. Damn. We lost to Colorado, man. I'd never hear the end of it. As much hell as I give con time to Deion Sanders, man, they'd be grilling the hell out of my ass. Bud was the professor, says Fred Bagley. Okay, he was the professor, but I would rather be a king. Who's more important, Fred? When you look at those two adjectives to describe somebody, who's more important, a professor or a king? Who has more clout? Who has more power? The king does, right? You know, like Alabama, even though we're having a little bit of an off year, Alabama is the king of kings of college football. We are the gold standard. We're not just a blue blood. We're a gold blood. And we will get our shit together eventually. We just got to get rid of some of these cancerous elements on the team. But in my opinion, I know people like to call Barry Switzer the king. Now, he is the king of the whole package to me. He can coach like hell and talk that smack. The one-liners and the zingers that Barry Switzer throws out, now that he is the king of. But I still would like to think that Bud Wilkinson should be considered the king of Oklahoma football. $19.89M says Auntie Louise is trolling Bama today, but he picked them to win the Natty this year in his bracket. What a jackass he is. Yeah. It's really Uncle Lou, but we had to rename him because he's a spastic little twat. Uncle Lou has now transitioned to being Auntie Louise, if y'all know who Uncle Lou is. Yeah, he's a complete hypocrite and a jackass. I could tell you a lot of interesting stuff about Uncle Lou, but I probably shouldn't do that live on the air. If y'all ever want to hit me up and get my phone number and call me off the air and maybe be a part of this show, I'll give you my phone number. If you hit me up in DMs on X, a.k.a. Twitter, at OCF Productions. I can also be reached on Facebook under Jesse Paul Clark. That's Jesse without the I. So y'all hit me up on there if y'all ever want to know some behind-the-scenes stuff that I really can't say on here because I used to have another channel a few years back, and I ended up having to let that one sort of go because they were basically putting handcuffs on me because I used to be 10 times worse, if you can believe that. King Barry had the personality that made him the king. Yeah, he did have a pretty abrasive personality. I think me and Barry Switzer would probably get along pretty well. Johnny Johns, he's always been called the king of OU football. It helps that he's a very likable guy that wins. He's a very likable guy in some circles. Some people don't like him being on the show because he starts cussing and raising hell, which I would like him. Well, on Gilligan's Island, you had an actress, a skipper, and a millionaire, but they couldn't have made it without the professor, says Donnie. That is true, but this ain't Gilligan's Island. Gilligan's Island was a joke. It was a comedy. So, yeah, if you want to be the professor of a joke, then that's fine. I don't know if that's a good analogy or not. But I get where you're going, Donnie. I get what you're trying to do here. I get what you're trying to do. You're trying to play at both sides of the fence sort of deal so that Bud Wilkinson and Barry Switzer are respected evenly. Alabama's going to play Memphis, huh? Who's TCU going to play? Didn't y'all win the other day in your little mid-card conference? Mid-card parity. The mid-card 12 starring Oklahoma State. And, Mike Gundy, I'm a man, I'm 54, I'm 72. One day I'm going to retire and I'm still going to be a man. I'm a jackass. I can't even wear an OAN shirt without someone punking me the hell out. A player called Chubba Hubba. Sound like a big old pack of cheap bubble gum from the damn dime store. Outlaw, you will be Oklahoma at least one of your favorites. Won last night. That is true. I do like Oklahoma, as you can tell. I got the Sooner Boomer Schooner wagon's been up there the whole year. I probably screwed myself, right? Brought me some bad karma. Put Oklahoma on top. Good point. Most professors are loony and woke. Yeah. Back in the day, he might have been a Democrat too. Bud Wilkinson might have been a Democrat because back then being a Democrat was okay. But now they got hijacked by a bunch of liberals because I used to be a Democrat. The SEC ain't boring this year. You don't have to give me that. We already have it. You don't have to give it to me. We'll just take it from you. We're beating up on each other right now. We're cannibalizing each other. Like I said in one of my previous podcasts, sure, y'all might be able to beat the SEC in a one game. But if your team, TCU, for example, were to be admitted into the SEC, and y'all had to play 8 SEC games, y'all would probably win about 2 of them. That's what I think. Y'all would probably be about 2-6, maybe 3-5 on a good year in the SEC. That's what TCU would be, as well as most of the mid-card 12, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion. Yeah, Trump used to be a Democrat. You're right. 1989M says, you got to admit, that was surreal seeing that game last night. I felt like a badass old school heavyweight fat fight. And I don't know about that. Alabama looked like Mike Tyson, and they looked like whatever that dude's name, Jake Paul. It looked like a Jake Paul, Mike Tyson debacle out there. Alabama couldn't score, and Oklahoma really couldn't pass the ball. Now, for Oklahoma, they need to be able to pass the ball a little bit more against LSU, or LSU will turn around and beat them. Alabama lost to Vanderbilt, but they beat LSU, right? And then Vanderbilt turns around and loses to LSU, who we beat. So just because Alabama beat LSU and y'all beat Alabama doesn't mean that Oklahoma's going to beat LSU, because it ain't happened that way all year long. Another case in point, Alabama beat Georgia. Georgia beat Tennessee, but Tennessee beat Alabama, who beat the team that beat Tennessee. It's been happening that way all year long. All year long. Like I said, there's a lot of comments coming in. If y'all want to get your comment read out, I can't read out everybody's comment. There's a little money dollar sign at the bottom. Click on that, write your comment out, then hit send and make a little donation to the program. Help us keep the lights on around here. And if you don't mind, jump out. If you can't do that, jump out and hit the like button. That's free. It pushes the algorithm and gets me out to a bunch of other people. And also, after this thing goes off the air, it'll go to podcast. You can also share it that way. Like, share, and comment on that on there. Maybe add some more comments, and then link it out to all your brothers and sisters of college football, because I need all the help I can get. The season's coming to an end really soon, and I'm almost there. I'm almost to that milestone, 5,000 subscribers. We're almost there. Just need a little bit of a push. If y'all can help me out on that. Big Alabama says Milroe is as consistent as Burger King. I would argue that Burger King's more consistent than Jalen Milroe. Just saying. Mr. King Dingaling, I'm doing these commercials now, doing interviews in the middle of the week, and whenever we win, I say Roll Tide in the cringiest way I've ever heard. Everybody thought that shit was cute back when we were winning. Just like Les Miles eating grass on the field out there. They thought that shit was cute till he started losing. Now that cringy ass Roll Tide ain't so cute anymore. Roll Tide! Roll Tide! Jalen Milroe's a jackass. You can look at it in his eyes, man. He's not a leader, man. They can just go ahead and pack it up and leave now, man. I don't give a shit if we lose the Iron Bowl at this point. The stuff that's been going on and it's just trashy, man. It's just so Bush League, and I don't know how to describe it, man. The stuff that's going on behind the scenes, the stuff that's being said and rumored to be happening, it just reeks, man. It just reeks. It just thuggish and trashy, man. That's the only adjectives I can come up with. Y'all can throw some in the comment section. Tell me what you think about all this. What would be a good adjective for the shit that's going on behind the scenes in Alabama? Arkansas, Missouri, Mississippi State, and Ole Miss, Kentucky can't win the SEC, period. That's true, but they can win the Big 12. I promise you that, shorty. I think you're shorter than me there. Now, you got mad when Killer Breeze started taking personal shots at you, man. If you're going to start taking personal shots in here, we can go there. But just know that it might get to a point where you might not like me anymore. I'm trying to be cordial with you here. But Arkansas, Missouri, Mississippi State, and Ole Miss, and Kentucky, and Vanderbilt can't win the SEC. That's true. That's Captain Obvious. Why don't you tell us something we don't know? They're all mathematically out of it. But if they win the Big 12, I would venture to say at least 2 or 3 of those would win the Big 12. I would think Arkansas and Vanderbilt, because Vanderbilt's played really well this year, and maybe even Missouri. I think Arkansas, Missouri, or Vandy would be at least top 2 or 3 in the Big 12 and the ACC. How do you like me now? There's your little education, boy. No shit. Look. Oh, dude's Captain Obvious, boy. I'm going to give you a cape, man. I'm going to send you a cape for Christmas. Give me your address. I'm going to get you a cape, a Captain Obvious cape. I'm going to give you a Captain Obvious cape. Maybe I'll even buy you a little mask. It's got a big O on it. Or you could say it's a 0 because you're bringing 0 tonight. Just playing with you, man. Don't get mad now. Look. I can buy you a Captain Obvious cape, and you can put it on in the front like the true supertard that you are. Because, a regular superhero will wear the cape in the back. One of the mid-card 12 podcasters like yourself, because y'all a bunch of supertards, y'all can wear it in the front. Y'all going to wear your cape in the front because y'all supertard heroes. Like I said, Dildo, I just told you, man, y'all can beat the SEC in a one-off. Anybody can do that. Listen to when I'm speaking, and you'll understand what I'm saying. It's just regular English, man. I'm not speaking Spanish here. It was a one-off. Y'all can beat the SEC once. But I would venture to say, even if TCU, for example, were to be scheduled just 5 SEC games. Let's not give you the full 8-game schedule, because y'all not really prepared for that. We saw what you did against Georgia. Y'all got treated like a homecoming queen. You got your ass embarrassed. You basically messed up the national championship game for everybody. And then we promptly beat the hell out of Kansas State. Alabama did. Your two top Big 12 schools on a big stage got blowed out by Alabama and Georgia. So take 5 games. We're not even going to make y'all play 8, man. Any Big 12 school, bring them over here, including TCU. We'll just make y'all play 5, and I guarantee you lose 3 of those. Guarantee you lose 3 of those. Might get lucky some years and go 3-2 if you only had to play 5, but you would never, ever win the SEC. None of y'all would. That's why y'all got left behind, man. It should be called the Left Behind Conference. That's what it should be called. The LBC. You just coined a new phrase for me, Numbskull. I appreciate it, brother. Some good stuff there. The Left Behind Conference. You can't educate me anyway, man. I know more about college football than you do. Bottom line, I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm just saying. I would rather, I gathered to say, if we had a college football test or a trivia game, I think I would beat you, man. And it might not even be close, brother. But I like your content. You say some funny shit, and that's why I watch it. By the way, Numbskull News does have a channel, and it's a pretty good channel. He gets on there, and he presses buttons just like me. As you can tell, he's trying to press my buttons now, and I'm just pressing them back. But, yeah, check Numbskull News out when you get off here. Subscribe to his channel. Johnny John says, I can't wait to watch these Big 12 teams get bounced in the college football playoffs. And if I'm wrong, I'll come on here and admit it. Well, here's the thing. It's still a one-off. Anybody can win a one-off game. It's just like the NCAA tournament, Johnny Johns. You'll have these teams that just up and beat a big-time seed. You know, like that year, the 16 seed beat a 1 seed. But then they don't make it any further usually than the Sweet 16. Usually those teams come in there and they got that one good game in them, but they don't have 6 good games in them. TCU done it. They beat Michigan. They had their one-off. They beat Michigan on a really high-scoring game, and then they turned around and had to do it again against Georgia, and they went from winning a game to getting treated like a homecoming opponent. So, yes, the Big 12 can win a playoff game. I'm sure of that. But I don't think the Big 12 can win a national title. Not anymore. You know, not since Texas and Oklahoma are gone. I don't think they can. I know you love me too, man. I know I'm a bastard sometimes. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, man. I'll back off. You got to realize too, man, I'm coming off of a horrific loss, an embarrassing loss for us. Not because it was to Oklahoma, but because of the way we lost and the way we handled ourselves and the fact that Oklahoma was in a down year, and it was a year that we had a prime opportunity to beat Oklahoma in Norman for the first time, and we just shit it away. So I'm in a little bit of an angst type mood, especially with all this stuff coming out about these players behind the scenes doing internal stuff and dictating to the coaching staff if Jalen Milroe gets benched that we're going to lay down. That kind of shit's just, I don't know, man. It's just got me a little unhinged tonight, and I might have took it out on you a little bit, brother. I'm sorry if I got a little too hard on you there. That sounds sort of gay. My bad. Making myself sound a little gay on that one. I got hard on Numbskull. Damn. Brendan, A&F, with his badge. He's deputized. He's an outlaw posse. Wasn't there an organization that got bored of running the Big 12 and decided to go to the SEC for some real competition? Can't remember. What organization would that be? Help us remember. Help us remember, Brendan. Don't beat around the bush. Don't be vague. This ain't a trivia question. Just go ahead and spit it out, man. Go ahead and spit it out. Nice girls don't spit, man. I guess. Maybe that's your theory. I don't know. NIL committee says, I got to admit, I'm jealous you coined the left behind conference. Damn you. That's gold. Yeah, calm down, OC. I can't calm down, man. Look at my damn neck. My neck's red, man. That shit's got me mad for real, man. Them players trying to dictate. Oh, we stayed behind. We could have left this team. Y'all owe us. We should be able to run this team until we graduate. Well, I hope Jalen Milroe don't come back for another year, and I hope they leave, man, because he's not going to be a good NFL player. And if he does, that's going to really surprise me, man. Anybody can change, and anybody can come through it, like Jalen Hurts did. But this Jalen, just because you got the same first name as Jalen Hurts, don't mean you're the next Jalen Hurts. You're just the next jackass. That's the J that you got. You're going to be the next Vince Young, man. You know, get out there and people start criticizing you, lose your damn noodle, wet your damn diaper, can't even be in the NFL anymore. You're on the damn college football podcast thing, or you're on ESPN's SEC Nation, and you're on there acting like an idiot, talking about your restaurant and stuff. Jalen Milroe is going to lose his mind, man. Outlaw's voice is raspy, but yelling at the TV. Yeah, I was yelling at the TV. That's another Captain Obvious statement, too. Of course. I guess I should record myself watching games. Y'all would probably get a kick out of that shit, for real. I hit the damn table with quite the force the other day. My wife and my best friend, one of my best friends, Ray Patton, got on to me. Thought I broke the table. But I hit the table like a man, not like Brian Kelly. When I hit my table the other day, man, that sounded like a man hitting the table. Not bragging, just saying. Brian Kelly hit that table, man. He's such a damn softy and a fake, Brian Kelly is, that he couldn't even hit a table and be valid. Even when he hits a table, he's like a corrupt. He's a corrupt hitting of the table. I hit the table like a man. He hits the table like this. He's like, and it's got to stop. It's got to stop. It's mean. It's a mean thing they're doing. Brian Kelly, man, hitting that table like a little girl. Oh, Brian Kelly, man. I can't wait till that dude gets fired, man. I actually like LSU. Some Alabama fans don't care for LSU, but I like LSU people. We got a lot of great LSU people that come in here from time to time, like No Cojones Kelly. But they don't deserve their program to be run by this farce, man. As soon as he came down here and started with that fake accent, and he wasn't playing. If he'd been playing, it'd been different. I would let him have a pass. But he wasn't playing. He thought we was all stupid enough to believe he had an accent. Try being a Dallas Cowboys fan. We would love a 9-3 record. Yeah, but that's the NFL, man. Y'all play 16 games, man. 9-3, and there's not but, what, 30 teams? 32 teams? How many teams in the NFL now? And college football is like 130, man. So 9-3 is not good in college football for a blue blood. Even Oklahoma, when Oklahoma turns things around, and Oklahoma will turn things around eventually, they're not going to be satisfied with 9-3. Well, they went 10-3 last year. They weren't satisfied with that. A true blue blood in college football is satisfied with only one thing, and that's winning the entire thing, national championships. Not just beating one team on their schedule that's emasculated them, like Auburn. Auburn, all they care about is beating Alabama, man. They won that one national championship back when Cam Newton was here, and, man, all they've talked about is kick six. Think about it. You ever hear Auburn talk about their national championship? All they talk about is kick six. Just like with Oklahoma State, they emasculated a lot worse. A lot worse. Especially their coach. Old emasculated ass Mikey boy. Okey pokey chokey State. Oh, well, you know what? That's fine. They can leave. We'll just take over the Big 12. Do-do-do. Look at us. Woohoo! We're 3-8. Wow. Just wow. Poor old Okey Pokey Chokey State. And that series wasn't even close. At least Auburn's within about 10 or 15 games of Alabama. They try to say it was a rivalry. How could you end a rivalry? It wasn't no rivalry, man. Yeah, sure, y'all been beating Oklahoma more regularly in the 2000s, but overall, that ain't no rivalry, man. Oklahoma's up 91-20. That's 71 games. It's not a rivalry. Sorry. It's not a rivalry. It's a charity case. That's what Oklahoma State is. They're a charity case. How many titles Bama has? How many titles Bama has since '95 last year? Cowboys won. We got a lot of them. Which is why college football is a lot different than pro. It's easier in college football to have a dynasty than it is in pro football. Although I will argue that Tom Brady in New England sort of approached the dynasty mode to me. I would say, and I know a lot of y'all don't like Tom Brady in New England, but they were a dynasty. Johnny John says you need to record your reaction to the games, but I personally couldn't do it. Way too much yelling, cussing. Yeah, I would probably. They would probably put me on limited ads or put a red strike on me like they did my other account if I got on there doing that shit. Because I don't really cuss a lot anymore. I try to watch myself, but I do like to hit shit sometimes. Matter of fact, I told you I hit that table. I also threw a bag of chips, crushed them all up. My wife's favorite bag of chips. She went in the bedroom to get away from me and Ray because we were acting like morons. So yeah, I put the hurt on my table a little bit, and I crushed my wife's favorite bag of chips, man. So I'm in trouble today, man. I'm grounded a little bit, so that's why I'm snuck in here in my room to get my aggravation out on you, numbskull. You asshole. I ain't gonna lie, man. You say some good stuff sometimes. I'm giving you hell in here today, but you can press in buttons with the best of them, man. I really enjoy watching you do that shit. Tim Gillespie's in the house. He has his badge too. He's deputized. Fred Bagley, I see OU Bama being a lot like OU Nebraska. That's a good comparison. I didn't think about that. That is a really good comparison. Both of them sort of red. Actually, we're both crimson. That might be why Milroe kept throwing the ball to the wrong team. Because our colors are too much alike. One of us needed to wear a white helmet. You know, Alabama used to wear white helmets back in the day. Last time we wore them, I think, was in 1984. We brought them back. They'd been gone for about 20 years. We brought them back to 1984, and then we went 5 and 6, and we're like, yeah, we're going to get rid of these white helmets again. But Oklahoma should have worn their white helmet, man, because y'all look like Alabama. And he threw the ball to y'all, man, because he thought y'all were Alabama, man. My bad. All this time, I thought Jalen Milroe was a complete and utter jackass, man. I guess he's not completely an utter jackass. I guess he's just a little bit of a jackass because he thought y'all were Alabama, man. Poor old Jalen Milroe and the Cancer 5, man. They just keep shit in the bed, man, because they can't dictate things. They want to be king ding-a-ling, and they can't be, right? John said, give her a foot rub and buy her another bag of chips. Well, actually, I waited till after I got off the stream last night, and I went in there, and she was half awake, half asleep. I got on my knee, and I actually proposed to her again. Asked her if she'd remarry me. Believe that? But she didn't say yes or no, man. So I don't know, man. I might be in real trouble. I seriously did re-propose to her, man. That's how bad it got, man. You see what y'all did? No. OU wore white helmets in the 50s. I remember y'all wearing an Oklahoma helmet one game, I think, where the helmet was white and you had the red OU in letters on it, Fred. I can't remember when it was. It might have been back in the early years of Bob Stoops. I can't remember, but I remember there was one game I thought where Oklahoma wore a white helmet with a red OU on it. Y'all not remember that? Tatted Sailor says Johnny Johns was just reading something on a shit show in the Big 12. There looks to be a four-way tie in the final week, and if it comes down to that, after this weekend, it'll be Iowa State versus Arizona State. Well, that's a unique matchup I ain't never thought of. That's a good one, Tatted Sailor. And if that does happen, I think the Big 12 would be better served, maybe. Oh, man, what do y'all think? Would they be better served in the playoffs by Iowa State or Arizona State? Who would have a more realistic chance of winning a playoff game in the Big 12? Iowa State or Arizona State? Rough Rider uniform, huh? All right. No, I'm talking about, I think they did it again after the 50s, Fred. I remember it, man. I'm telling you, I remember y'all wearing a white helmet with red OU on it. Maybe I'm mistaken. Yes, Outlaw, we still wear white helmets sometimes on the alternate uniforms. That's what I thought. I remember seeing y'all wear a white helmet. Well, all right, I had to come in here and vent for a little while. I'm glad y'all coming in and hung out with me today. We had a lot of people here today again, so it's back-to-back pretty good days for the Outlaw channel. Appreciate y'all coming here and backing me up. If y'all got anything you want to say before you go, if you want me to address any questions, go ahead and ask them now. And if you want to get it pushed to the top so I can see it over everybody else's, their little money dollar sign, once again at the bottom, click on that, write your comment out, then hit send. Make sure you write your comment out first before you hit that second send. I don't know if it's according to what you call a long time ago, Brian. If you say 1950s, yeah, that was a long time ago. But I could have swore that Oklahomans had worn a white helmet here in the 2000s. Not just this year when they done that throwback, but in the early 2000s or the 2000 teens. You must have just got in here, Matt. I've been talking this whole time about the title at the top, and I've been talking about Oklahoma and giving y'all kudos and stuff, just like I did last night. So why would I be heartbroken? Am I happy that we lost? No. I mean, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to just roll over and let y'all just take shots at me? That wouldn't be no fun. I don't fight back, right? I don't know. Yeah, of course. Who wouldn't be mad that their team lost? Ironically, we suck in the white unis. Our unity uniforms are where we are undefeated in, but they aren't popular. All right, don't know nothing about that, but I'll take your word for it. All right, KMCA to all the other teams. Class is now officially dismissed.